Hey, everybody. This is Matt Ackley, CMO of Ritchie Bros, coming at you live from, I'm in San Jose, California, stuck at home. I think a lot of us are in that situation right now during these, uncertain times, and, looking forward to, getting back to the daily routine. I know I'm looking forward to getting on an airplane and making it back to one of our live auctions. But as we thought about that, we thought, hey, let's still try to continue the conversations. I mean, one of the things I love about going to our live sales is meeting up with folks and sharing information with folks. And because we can't do that live right now, we thought, hey, let's take a shot and do that virtually. So today I've got a couple of folks with me. I've got Simon Wallen, who's our Vice President of Agriculture for our Canadian business. I've got Jordan Clark, who's Strategic Director for Agriculture in our Canadian business. And I have Ben Goodyear, who is a Director in Data Analytics at Ritchie Bros. And, look, there's been a lot of changes recently, as we've shifted from a live model, as I just mentioned, to an online model. And you know what? I mean, we think things are, we're doing the best we can out there, and we're still selling equipment. And we thought it would just be a good idea to get some folks around the table and talk about, specifically the experts, about what they see is going on. So let me turn it over to Jordan and Simon. They're going to talk a little bit about what we're seeing. We're right in the middle of the ag season in Canada, the ag selling season in Canada. So, Jordan and Simon, why don't you tell us a little bit of what you're seeing in this brave new world?
Thanks, Matt. It's definitely a change from where things usually are at for us. Typically our crews are out traveling across the Western Canadian prairies doing live farm auctions. So that's not an option for us anymore, and we've made the switch to sell everything online via the timed auction lot platform. And to be honest with you, it's a big change for a lot of our staff and for a lot of our customers, but we couldn't be any happier with the results that we've seen. At the end of the day, any decision that we made on how to conduct these sales and whether they're going to still go forward or not was the concern for our customer that hired us to sell their assets and help them through this process of retirement. And I'm just so pleased to say that we've been able to do our job and then some, and the results have been very, very strong. So the customers that have hired us are happy. The buyers, are finding deals and finding equipment and doing it safely from the comfort of their home. So the process and what we're seeing right now is actually pretty darn good.
Excellent. Simon, anything you want to chime in with?
Yeah, I think just to echo Jordan's words, when everything turned upside down in the last 6 weeks, and we had to figure out how we were going to be able to provide the same quality of service that our customers have expected, both consigning and buying over the last 20 years for Ritchie Bros in the ag industry, specifically here in Western Canada. We had a lot of heartburn at start and a lot of concern about how we would be able to do that. I think with the investment that Ritchie Bros has made in online platforms and due diligence and having the confidence of the bidding and buying customers with our online platforms and bid live platforms in the past made the transition to the timed auction lot platform go that much smoother. We had a lot of hard work from some core operations and sales staff along the way to get us to the point we're at right now. We're in the last week of 57 on-farm auction sales that have taken place from the last 2 days in March up until today. We have 7 more auction sales this week to round out the month of April in our on-farm schedule. And to Jordan's point earlier, the results have been more than favorable. Everybody is talking about why this is happening. We're still trying to cipher through a lot of the information and figure out exactly why our interest has gone up. The registered bidders per auction sale have increased. The bidding activity per auction sale has increased. And a lot of that, we believe, does have to do with the situation around the world and COVID-19 and how that is impacting everybody's day in, day out business practices. A couple of the highlights from the month of April have been consumer items, small consumer type products at each and every one of our farm events have been quite impressive with the results and with the interest that they have been garnering. And the farm machinery in general has been a highlight, and the core assets of each and every farm have been a highlight of each and every event. So we're still trying to get through all of the data and figure out what's happening and where the new normal is going to be. But for now, we're quite satisfied with how we've been able to react to the situation and assist our customers in their complete dispersal retirement farm auction.
No, I think that's great. I mean, I think as somebody who came from, the online world and the IronPlanet world, it's been great to see you guys, transition the RB family and all the work you guys have done up there in Canada to transition to online only, and let's keep pushing forward. And I'll talk a little bit about the data. We'll actually, that's a great transition. We'll transition into some of the data right now. Ben's gonna talk a little bit, then I'll come back and talk about some of the registration data. But let's turn it over to Ben. Speaking of online data, why don't you, Ben's going to talk about a new online tool we have out there that allows everyone to have access to this type of data so they can see what's going on. And Ben, why don't you give folks a little preview of, some of the stuff we're seeing in the ag sector?
Yeah, awesome, Matt. So a big thank you to Simon, Jordan, and the whole ag team for all this great work on behalf of the customers, right? That's phenomenal work. I am a data nerd. I'm going to walk out for a few minutes here. What I wanted to show was some of the insights that a customer can get into Ritchie Bros data through this public tool, which is Ritchie Bros Market Trends. And I wanted to start with something about learning from the past in terms of this current market dynamic. And so this is a mix adjusted price. And what it's doing is it's trying to look at a basket of goods and how that changes in value over time. So it's meant to be the same basket of goods over time. And what we can look at here is this is for Canada. It goes back to 2007. And what we see is our last major crisis, right? The financial crisis of 2008. And you can see how prices eroded as the situation got more severe. So what this is showing a user is that by June of 2008, the price of this basket was down almost 10% versus the prior year, so June 2007. And it actually continued to go down all the way until about June 2010. So that basket of goods, and this is a basket that's looking at all of the Ritchie assets, so construction, transport, ag, it was down about 15 to 20% through that financial crisis. And then what we saw is over the next 7 or 8 years, it was basically inflationary the whole time. So prices were going up. And what we saw at the end of last year is some softening, right? So not a huge decrease, not a huge deflation period, but we saw a little bit, down 3% versus the prior year. Now, what's interesting is you see a pretty large dip in 08. And let me change this to now an ag view. So this is now all the agricultural equipment going through our yards. And we look back at 08. And what you don't see is that massive deflationary period. So, certainly during the 2008 crisis that was incredibly hard for the world, ag equipment held its price really well. And you see, again, same sort of timeline, June 2010, it started this inflationary period. And we see that, in the last 6 months, we're only down about 1%, right? So this is saying that, for the same basket of goods in February 2020, it's only down about 1% in value versus what we saw in 2019. So really stable. So two takeaways, right? A little bit of it, like I say, nerding out here. One is that pricing in ag has been very stable this quarter. It, very much what Simon and Jordan were speaking to, really strong participation from buyers. And two, we don't know that the past will predict the future, but certainly during the last crisis, we didn't see a massive deflation in the asset value. So this is something that, a user of this tool can get into, and they can play through all these different categories of equipment. So this is the ag story, right? So two takeaways. One is strong pricing right now in this quarter. Two is during the last big event of 2008, ag equipment held up really well. The other piece I want to spend a little bit of time on is just demonstrating how a user can really dig into specific make models, right? So this is the full basket of all the agriculture assets in Ritchie. You can also drill down into very specific asset classes. So what I'm going to show you is the ability to cut the data by certain asset categories. Now, what I've done here is I've loaded it for harvesters. I've looked at the last 3 years of data for Canada. During that time, we transacted about $200 million of ag harvesters. Of that, the John Deere S680 was the highest frequency model that we sold. We sold 125 of those assets through our auctions. And you can see the prices that were being achieved. So, this is every single asset there. Some of them will be 10 to 15 years old. Some of them will be 1 to 3 years old. So you get a range of prices as to be expected. At the very high end there, you see a $375,000 unit. And at the low end, you see 121. And you see that the median was 220. Now, I personally really like the median because what it means is imagine you're lining up every single harvester in front of you, and you go from the very old, very tired unit to the shiniest new unit, and you're actually taking the middle one. So you're saying, hey, I'm not going to take the best, I'm not going to take the worst, I'm taking the middle. And so it gives you an idea of these assets, and you can look at that asset and say, hey, how is that changing over time? And what we can see is that this particular asset, now I'm looking at the last 3 years here, 2017, 2018, 2019, I can see that in each quarter, I get different volumes sold, right? So in 2017, Q3, we sold a lot, 25 units. In 2018, it was Q4, 22 units. 2019, it was again Q4, 22. And what you see is that median price has been actually decreasing for this particular unit, for this particular make model. And so 2017, we saw a bit of a dip. 2018, slow erosion. 2019, towards the end of the year, we actually saw some weakening, right? Pretty significant. The median price of 220 here in Q4 of 18, now down to the median price of 156, right? So you get to drill into a specific make model. You get to look at the range of prices, and you're informed. You can drill even further, and I won't spend too much time on this one, but this, again, is another cut on this specific make model. And it enables you to see how pricing is changing as asset age. Not news to anyone here is, we get this gradual decrease as the asset ages. And you can also look at it by the hours, right? And you start to see that after about 1,500 hours, we're actually pretty flat for a little while here, around $160,000, $170,000 Canadian for a harvester. So this tool enables you to drill into all the details of the make model. The final piece I want to show you about this is the tool enables you to look at Ritchie Bros auctions for the last 30 days. So all the great ag auctions that have been occurring in Western Canada in particular that Simon and Jordan alluded to, this is showing the data from them now. And so here I am. I can see all these different assets that we've sold. I can look at the John Deere. So we sold between 50 and 100 ag harvesters. I can go back to my model 680, and I can see that at the time, this last 30 days has been about $160,000 per asset for a median price. And so what I take from that is it's actually held up from the Q4 pricing. So three real takeaways from this tool. One is it's accessible for paying subscribers. Two, it enables you to get this view of the entire ag marketplace, the relative strength. You can look back in time and say, how did it happen? What happened in the last major economic event? And three, it enables you to drill down pretty deeply into the make model that you're seeking yourself. Matt, back to you.
I want to end it up real quick. Simon was talking about the data that we have, and one of the, as you saw there from Ben, one of the investments we've made, along with investing in online technology, as Simon mentioned, we've invested a lot in our ability to, look at data, sort through data, analyze data, provide data to you guys. And just, I thought I'd just show you some of the stuff we look at internally. Here's an overview of the Saskatoon auction we had a couple weeks ago. Not only do we track, you can see the big jump in registered users there, but we know where all these people are coming from. And that's one of the big things we look at as Ritchie Brothers is making sure that we can actually bring, we're focused on bringing that global demand to you. Right. So in the case of, Canadian auctions, can we bring that U.S. demand when there's a, strong U.S. dollar and so forth? So we're constantly tracking this stuff. We're constantly monitoring, and we take action. Right. So, as the guy who runs marketing, I'm always looking right at, hey, what's going on out there? This is a tool called Google Analytics. It allows me to look, at the traffic to our websites. And, as you might expect during these times, as we've gone to all online auctions, we've seen, a growth in traffic, right? But that's not just happening organically. We're going out there and, we're taking our marketing dollars, we're taking our marketing expertise and going out there and driving, driving buyers to the auctions, right? Existing buyers as well as new buyers. We're using tools like, Google AdWords. We're using Facebook. We're using retargeting tools and so forth to make sure that, hey, as we make this switch to online, that the buyers show up. And, as the person who runs marketing, each and every day, that's what we look at. Right. Simon can tell you, other sales leaders can tell you, I'm constantly curious, how's price performance, how are registration, how's buyers. And like I said, we're trying to use all the tools at our disposal to make sure that when we do make this shift to online, we're making sure that the buyers are there and are showing up. So, with that, I want to, leave everybody with those final thoughts. And, finally, we appreciate your business and don't hesitate to reach out. Let us know how we can help you with some of this data and some of these new tools that we're developing. So with that, thanks a lot and stay safe, everybody.